I've been trying to do the science on understanding why miniature versions of normal sized food taste better. And
I mean, you are
Yes.
ever the scientist.
Is this the pizza roll and bagel bite debacle?
No, like
or do you mean like an actual miniature pizza,
like a mini corn dog,
mini taco,
a mini taco, a mini M&M, if you will. And technically, a chicken nugget is just a miniature chicken patty, and that's
true.
Sure.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had access to mini M&Ms and you didn't just empty the entire contents of the tube into your mouth?
And that's not really what I wanted to talk to you all about. What I really wanted to talk to you all about was which one of us would make more money with a feet only fan page? Who would bring in the most bucks out of the three of us?
Well, I think we have to answer some pretty basic questions here.
Sure.
What's everyone's shoe size?
12.
14, 15, depending on the shoe.
Okay. I also hover around 14 or 15. So Johnny might not automatically be out. I don't know. Maybe people are into. I mean, those aren't small feet. Those are just average feet.
Out of the three of us, I would venture to say that Johnny,
but not gigantic like hers.
No, but I'm only 5'11".
Yeah, you're a tiny baby human, not
right.
But I would bet that Johnny probably.
It was very funny when Bobby's like, "Oh, well, look at all this miniature food," and it's like, "No, buddy, that's just normal sized food."
Yeah,
you're just a very tall man.
Johnny probably wears shoes the least out of the group here, so his feet are probably subjected to the elements a little bit more than us. So if you're into dirty feet, Johnny's probably got.
What?
Man, I don't know.
What are you talking about? If I go outside of my house, I put shoes on.
I doubt it.
I put shoes or sandals on to take the garbage out, and that's like 20 feet away.
Doubtful.
I don't wear shoes very often.
I don't in the house at all.
Especially in this work from home environment.
You wear socks?
It doesn't happen.
No.
You're walking around barefoot all day long. That's what you're telling me. Both of you.
Yes. Unless it's like winter and it's cold.
Even then,
I hate it.
I put a blanket over me.
Yeah. I got a pair of house slippers that really fix that because I can slide those on, let my feet get warm, and then I take them off.
Johnny, the only time that you have anything on your feet is when you crawl into bed. You probably wear socks to bed, don't you?
Absolutely not. I'm not a serial killer.
I've
worn socks to bed on the coldest of occasions.
Yeah, like if it's really, really cold, then maybe. But usually then I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm just disgusted with myself.
But I also I kick no matter what the temperature is, I kick my feet out from under the covers, so they're just hanging out. So if it's really bitterly cold, then I just need the sock on there to give it some protection.
Who here has had a pedicure?
Not me.
You would remember this, Chase. This is something we have to think about.
I mean, it was in middle school. It was during the MTV Video Music Awards, the one where Madonna kissed Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
Wow!
Because I was over at a friend's house, a girl. We were both in middle school. It was fine. And she's like, "Oh, I should paint your nails," and I'm like, "Fuck it, I don't care. Let's do it." So I wouldn't really call that a pedicure exactly, but
okay,
close enough.
So I think we're all bringing a little bit something different to the table as far as feet fetishes go, but I would wager to say that we would probably have a better career showing off our feet than we do with this podcast.
Well, sure,
probably.
This podcast has brought in negative money. We've
made money.
This podcast.
I'll get off this podcast and record a video of me stepping in some ground beef right now.
Oh my god!
We want to get this going.
There we go.
Cooked or raw?
Oh, it has to be raw. It's raw.
What?
Would you?
You're gonna step in cooked ground beef? What are you, an insane person?
You would rather step in raw? Okay.
Well, the money is in the raw, Bobby. The the sickos want to see that.
Mhm.
They don't want to see you stepping
No, there's
cooked ground
probably
beef.
somebody who wants
There's
to see
no
you step in cooked
there's no
ground beef
there
and
there.
eat said ground beef.
Well, yes, Bobby. Obviously, what happens is you step in the ground beef, you get like a little bit of dust and dirt that were on your feet into the ground beef, and then you cook up those patties, and then some sickos are going to pay some money for it.
Yeah.
That's how sickos work, Bobby.
Yeah. It's the same people that would buy used bathwater.
Exactly.
Well, if you weren't sick enough, you've definitely came to the right.
I'm pretty grossed out right now.
To the right place. Well, we're gonna get a
talk about
grosser
video
here.
games now.
Yeah, we are the Casual Hour, a podcast ostensibly about video games, but mostly about selling our feet on the internet. I'm Bobby Pease, the host of this show.
Like selling the whole foot, like just chopping it off and sending it to
Getting
somebody?
rid of it. Who needs it?
I mean, you can only do that twice.
50% chance it's going to work the first time.
What do you think your left foot or your right foot would sell for more?
Again, it depends on what they want. I think my right foot's going to have a little bit more girth to it, just because I feel like that's my dominant foot. So
I could have fucked up toenail.
The one you do a karate kick with.
Yeah, that's the one that I would definitely kick some shit with my right foot.
Yeah, my feet are they're kind of hairy. And
oh, you don't say.
I mean, certain people are into that.
What are you going to tell me next? That water's wet? Chase Kennedy, the gamer on the go.
Baggins over there.
Oh boy,
Johnny Hemsich.
And then yes,
that's me.
The hairy foot, Johnny Amazich. And
feet.
We are here this week with a special episode dedicated to all those events that maybe you've been hearing about, such as the Sony State of Play, the Summer Game Fest, and the Devolver Market Showcase Extravaganza. What the fuck is that thing called this year?
Close enough.
Devolver Digital Marketing Countdown to Marketing.
Thank you, Chase.
Obviously.
Traditionally, we would tell you about the games that we've been playing. We might even do a deep dive or sometimes a monthly recap of the games that we've been playing. But tonight, we're going to forego all of that and get right into covering the gaming news. There's been a lot of it this week, even outside of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. There's been some pretty big industry shakeups. A podcast that we've all grown to love and that has helped us be podcasters ourselves, Giant Bomb. The co-founder, Jeff Gerstmann, broke away from that show and started his own podcast. And obviously there's been a lot of people talking about it, and we are nobody to talk about this other than fans that I just want to say I hope everybody involved in making a show continues to find things that they enjoy out of it. As somebody who's done this show now for 6 years with my best friends, I know that there's a lot of emotions that can come into this stuff, and we don't even do it for money.
Shut up.
And it's something that I think, you put people on pedestals a lot, and you idolize sometimes like the work that they do, and you want to replicate it. I just want to say thanks. Like, they've all done some great stuff, and we would not have a podcast if it wasn't for Giant Bomb and the work that they've done there. So, typically we don't cover stuff like that too much, but that one felt a little close to home for all of us, and something that I know is an important show to all of us here at the Casual Hour. And we're, the Next Lander guys that just hit a 1-year mark doing their stuff. Giant Bomb has brought in a bunch of new people, and Jeff is doing his own thing. So they're going to continue to talk about video games, but I just thought it would be worth it to maybe bring that up a little bit at the top of the hour here before we get into what we do.
Like, I had been doing podcasting stuff before I started listening to Giant Bomb. Like, I was doing stuff in college, but for sure they had such an impact. All those guys had such an impact on the way I talk about games, the style of it, the humor of it.
Sure.
And it's been a hugely influential endeavor this whole time, and it does feel extremely weird that none of those guys are there anymore. Now they still have a lot of people at Giant Bomb. In fact, more.
Yeah,
more than ever
number
now.
Of people
who are doing their thing, and Jeff is now. I guess it's not exactly a solo act. I mean, it's called the Jeff Gerstmann Show, so
yeah,
kind of a solo act. But
he launched a Patreon, right?
He launched a Patreon. Yep. It's doing very well. His new podcast is also doing very well.
Yep. #1 podcasts. Almost.
For
It was in the top,
leisure.
Yes.
No, it was in like the top 11 for all podcasts.
Very cool.
And
Doesn't that work on? I mean, you guys are the Apple guys, so you probably know better than I. But isn't the top list more about the number of new subscriptions than it is the most subscriptions?
It's like
history?
a trending.
Yeah.
So it could be what you're talking about with new. It could be like a resurgence in something, or like a new season if they do that sort of thing. It's just like overall, like, algorithm data.
It's not just the same, like, oh, this podcast has 1 billion listeners, so it's going to stay at #1 all the time.
If you like drill down into categories, they typically keep it that way, but what you see is not static on that first landing page. It is, to your point.
There's an algorithm to it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Johnny, anything that you want to share about that?
I mean, nothing really beyond what you two said. Like, I wouldn't have asked you to do this podcast all those years ago if it wasn't for Giant Bomb. And those guys have been hugely impactful on not just us, but how games are covered. Like, people wouldn't talk about games the way they do now. There wouldn't be personality driven stuff.
Sure.
Which seems like that's what all the most popular stuff is now. If Giant Bomb hadn't started doing that, all those years ago.
I think it's Giant Bomb and it's 1UP.
Yep.
And those two places have made every other place
totally
what they are.
Yep. It's crazy to think about. Like, Jeff, he's been doing this for 30 years professionally, which is crazy to think about.
A long fucking time.
That's a long fucking time. And if you think about, like, just even tonight, we're about to cover what traditionally would be E3. Arguably one of the bigger things outside of CES that's happened, like showcasing video games. And now we've got this new thing emerging that seems to be, in a lot of ways, the new standard. And I think that it's interesting to see, like, games coverage. And we're going to break down a few different events that are kind of outside of what we're seeing here with Jeff Keighley's show. But, Sony has moved to more in-house publishing for a lot of their stuff. Devolver, that we're going to talk about tonight, absolutely. Nintendo, that we've covered their directs multiple times on this show. Everything's kind of gone into a way of, like, more independent or company owned, and then people just comment on it. People stream it, talk over it. It's very different. But we shifted our show to a Thursday night, which traditionally we do not do, but we wanted to cover the shows. And we should probably do that. So let's get into it. We're going to break it down this way. Like, we're each going to be kind of hosting through a segment tonight to shake it up a bit. So if you do come into the chat, feel free to ask some questions, comment on what we got going on here. But Chase, you being the Sony fanboy of the team, we wanted to make sure that we let you talk about Sony.
Okay. Historically, I've been the most into Sony my entire life. Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
State of Play this year.
State of Play. We got one. They did this before T3, the Summer Game Fest. They got out before that. Xbox, that's happening on Sunday. Xbox and Bethesda. So we don't have anything about that yet. It hasn't happened yet.
That's the PC Game Fest that day too.
Okay, cool. And then nobody's heard about Nintendo, right? I mean,
There's
they kind of showed
planned
up a little bit in Summer Games Fest, but they didn't really.
Yeah, they haven't announced their own thing yet.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Sony. State of Play. They started out with a big R on a black background. And
Rockstar?
No, not that R. It ended up being Resident Evil 4, the remake of this game, which got announced at this show. Coming out next March 24th. It's coming to PS5. It is also coming to PSVR 2. This was mostly a show about PSVR 2 and some other titles.
Did you catch if they're doing the Oculus Quest version of Resident Evil 4 that's already VR, or is there like a version of this remake that they're doing for VR?
Yes, I believe it is. This remake is getting a PSVR 2 version as well.
Same way RE7 did.
Yeah, I believe that is the case.
Because that's a pretty solid VR experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, Capcom, it feels like they have somehow figured out how to do VR.
Yeah.
And by do VR, they mean just the Resident Evil games. Put them all in VR as fast as
It
possible.
works.
It
And
works, man.
For some reason, those games more than other games seem to be going on that. Like I don't see other game franchises taking advantage of VR in the same way that Capcom and Resident Evil are doing. Anyway, full on remake. We'll get to see one of our favorite characters ever return in Ashley, the president's daughter.
Leon.
Sure she'll be great. Everyone will love it. You
Yeah,
know what? Maybe they fix it. Maybe they fix her. Who knows? They could. I'm really interested to see what that game is from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RE4, that's the one that's supposed to be the modern good feeling one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to ask you, Chase, did you play that one? I know that you don't like that shit, but did you even play? You played 4, right?
I did not play 4. I played some 5.
I traded in my PS2 so I could play RE4 and Smash Brothers.
4 is the only one that I've played through.
Yeah, same.
So I am really excited about this because everything I've heard from folks that were into those remakes for 2 and 3, which seemingly did a really good job, if they can modernize the feel of 4, I think that would be really, really cool.
But that's my point. Is like 4 already feels modern.
And
Like,
it's also
it did the over the shoulder shooter thing.
Yeah,
Like
and
2
it's
and
been
3, those feel like old ass games when you go back to them with the tank controls and the fixed camera angles, and like this was the one where it broke the mold. This is the one that I don't understand that you're remaking, other than well, we've already remade the other ones. We have to do this now, right?
If you think that's a confusing remake from Sony,
yeah, no, we'll talk about that one. All right, let's move on. They also announced that Resident Evil 8 is going to get some PSVR 2 support. So now you can look at your big lady through your own eyes. So that'll be cool.
yeah,
people are.
That's
if that ever makes its way to PC,
that's you're straight to horny jail in that one.
It already kind of did, didn't it? Like,
I mean, if the VR
makes
version
her hat bigger every time you look at her, right?
But I mean, a VR specific version,
yeah,
on PC.
I get that.
Yeah, there's just a mod that's just the big lady sitting on you. That's all it is.
Because Sony, I guess, doesn't understand that you should put your. They put 3 zombie things right in a row to begin the show. Like, Jesus Christ, guys. But Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Retribution, hell of a name. That's coming to PSVR 2 in 2022. I guess, is that like a series of Walking Dead games? Has there already been one that showed up? Is that
all of them, or is this a new one?
I think this is a new game.
Okay.
I didn't recognize any characters from a show, so if it is, they're much later characters that I do not know anything about. I don't know.
So I know people are pretty that VR game, right? Because that's the VR one, correct?
Yes, this is also VR.
That and then the Telltale games, people are pretty fond of for Walking Dead.
Sure.
Like apparently
the
this
Telltale Walking Dead games are great.
Yeah, apparently this one's pretty solid too for like a VR experience. They do a good job with this.
Okay.
I've not played it, I've not really watched it, but apparently people like it.
They also showed off more. There are a couple more PSVR 2 things. No Man's Sky coming to PSVR 2. That was a good. As a person who hasn't really seen much about No Man's Sky since the big stuff with No Man's Sky when it kind of first came out, to just see this trailer where here you're fighting huge mechs now, and there's all these people together. That game changed a lot, didn't it?
Yeah,
and I've heard like all the little piecemeal stuff. I've watched streams of you guys building bases and things, but to see just in a trailer form, hey, did you know we have all this shit now? And we're like, oh, I kind of didn't. That's pretty incredible.
I ended up picking that game up on Steam because I've been playing it on Game Pass because it's on Steam Deck, and it it plays so great there, and it's just wild like how much they keep adding into it, because they just did that space pirate update. Now there's like space whales too.
Yeah.
Like
Got
that
a
game
space whale.
is really
On the
something.
Ishmael.
How else do you end Final Fantasy IV if you don't have a space whale? And then
Good point.
lastly, for PSVR 2, we saw Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is a new experience that is in the Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West universe, but no Aloy. You play as like a random dude.
Yeah, this
Maybe
seems
not
like
so random. I don't know.
like an excellent way to show off your new technology, I think. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be a pack-in game. I probably not, because I don't even think that Astrobot was a pack-in game. But the way that they used Astro to show off PSVR, I could see this with like haptic, pulling back the bow, just the hand tracking stuff that you would have there. If there are like, if you have a focus, I could see that doing some really cool stuff with just audio. Like this seems that, I'm not saying that it's not going to be good on its own, but this definitely, to me,
I'm sure it'll
says,
be a good showcase. I mean, you have
Yeah.
you have the robot creatures that look so cool. Even in
Yep.
the trailer, they show a big T-Rex looking one that's about to stomp on you. It's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Seeing big robotic dinosaurs in VR sounds like a good time. Story-wise, I don't. I
I don't
guess
know.
I just don't understand how you do a Horizon game without Aloy, because Aloy is
Yeah.
like the whole point of that entire universe.
It's also one of those things too where like, I don't know, Chase, you've had minimal impact with it. Johnny, you've had a handful of time with VR, but the locomotion stuff is still like really difficult for me, and that would be like my biggest. Like that's one of the reasons why I couldn't really get too far into the Resident Evil one, is like I didn't like teleporting, and I know that you're like walking would be better. I get ill when I play VR and I'm walking and
Yeah,
my feet
I
aren't moving.
haven't had that experience, and I played a little bit of No Man's Sky on the original PSVR, and it was awesome, especially the flight, like being
Yeah,
in the cockpit and like looking around and flying through space and stuff was really really
I
cool.
played a lot of the oh my god, what's this? Squadron, Star Wars Squadron.
Mhm.
With I had the stick and everything, and then the headset on, and that was pretty special. But I was sitting
I
down.
haven't played anything where you're walking. I've done we did what did we do? We did a
Super
Super Hot
Hot
VR,
and
which
Saber.
that's teleportation, right?
Well, no, it's like
it's all
it,
stationary.
yeah, you're not physically like walking in the game. It's just like as you
Oh,
move.
that's right. It all happens
You mo-
around you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I played that. I played Tetris Effect, which is no movement.
Yeah.
Astro, where you're not moving, it's the character moving, and then Beat Saber, which again you're not really moving in that. So I would kind of like to play a game like Half-Life Alyx and just see how it feels teleporting versus just walking around.
Well, hey,
Because
next time you come over,
I don't know.
I have
Sure.
that.
All right, I'll be right over. Johnny, I guess we're ending this podcast. See you
Yep.
guys.
Be right there.
Yeah, okay. So that was all the PSVR 2 stuff. Then at the end of that, we also heard from Guerrilla Games that they are making an update to Horizon Forbidden West. It's out now. It's free. It adds a lot of new features, New Game Plus, performance mode, a transmog system so you can make all your armor look however you want and get the different skills from it. You can reset your skill trees. They've added an ultra hard difficulty. There are new weapons and trophies. Now, when they say trophies, do they mean PlayStation trophies,
I
or
think
is
so.
that like a system? Okay, I didn't know if
Yeah.
that was a system in the game
No,
that
it's
maybe
got to be
maybe you like
PlayStation.
take trophies of the animal things that you hunt. Okay, yeah, but that's out now. It's free. You can download it. I'm sure Bobby already has.
No, I haven't. I haven't turned my PlayStation on for a while now.
Well, yeah, you
Um,
don't need it anymore. You have a PC. What's the
point?
What's
You
the
know.
point?
Just a big paperweight.
So, like, if you two were like, not that we're gonna give scores to everything, but like, how did this resonate with you? Like, for a state of play, I know it's a heavy VR.
Oh, we're not done.
Well, the VR section, right? Did you was there
the
any,
VR
was there
stuff?
any
Yeah.
was there anything with the VR that made either one of you say like, I have to have a headset?
No,
Not a bit.
Okay.
no.
Okay. Cool. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah,
Before we get too far away from that.
I am, as of yet, undecided which headset I would purchase.
They haven't.
If I were to get a new VR headset.
They didn't
There's
release
no
like
date or anything.
hardware cost or anything like that
No.
yet, right?
Nope.
Okay.
I assume we'll get like a dedicated, hey, this is all the information about the VR2 when it comes out and stuff.
Okay.
At some point in the relatively near future.
Makes sense.
I still just don't want or need VR. It's not the way I like to play video games. It was fun it was a novel experience to go in. It's something I could see doing at like an arcade. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you're going into the VR experience. Sure, I'll throw a few quarters into it for that. But when it comes to, do I want to sit on my couch and then put a thing on my head? That's just not the way I play video games. And the extra stuff you get out of that is not appealing enough for me. Anyway, Bobby, I was saying you have one of those PCs, so you don't need to play your PlayStation anymore. And in fact, you really don't need to play your PlayStation anymore because a beloved PlayStation favorite is coming to PC, and it's the one you're thinking of, but not Bloodborne. Man, it was such a fucking tease. I don't even give a shit about Bloodborne, and it was still such a fucking tease of like, here we go, Bloodborne coming to PC. And you're like, whip, nope, Spider-Man, bitch.
Both of them, right?
Yeah.
So they announced Spider-Man during the show. I don't think they showed Miles Morales, but Miles Morales is coming. I don't know if it's coming the same day.
It's not. It's later this year.
But it's going to show up. So Spider-Man Remastered coming to PC August 12th.
Okay.
Miles Morales sometime after that.
That's going to sell so many copies.
It's going to sell so many copies, and I bet you it will look phenomenal on PC. It'll look great.
I don't doubt it. I would like to see the PC version of the Into the Spider-Verse suit and see the frame rate stuff that they do with that. That'd be fun.
Yep.
Moving on to Stray, a game that we've seen before. This is the cat, a little game where you play as a cat running through the kind of cyberpunk city.
Yeah.
This is coming out July 9th. Got a date. It's coming to PS4 and PS5. And it's going to be free if you have PlayStation Plus Extra. Guys, do you know which level of PlayStation Plus you have?
I don't. I think just
I've got
standard one.
I've been buying my PlayStation Plus like 12 months at a time.
Yeah.
Whenever that goes on sale.
So we all have PlayStation Plus Essential. Obviously.
Okay.
PlayStation Plus Extra, that's the mid-tier one, and then depending on if you are in a territory with cloud gaming or not cloud gaming, you get Deluxe or Premium. Here's something that burns me up. I'm gonna read something. I went to the PlayStation blog. And this is an article from, it doesn't have a date on it. Oh, it does. May 23rd, 2022, where they talk about the whole new PlayStation Plus and all the different tiers. And there's a chart here that clearly lays out the benefits you get for Essential, Extra, Deluxe, and Premium. And nowhere in this does it say, hey, if you're Extra, you're going to get some free games. Because that's the point of Essential. Essential is where you get the free games. Yep. So feels a little bit like a bait and switch to me to make this new thing to say, oh, with Extra, you're just getting access to a PS4 and PS5 game catalog, and then say, well, here's a brand new game we're going to put out for free, but only to these members. That seems a little fucked up to me.
I mean, it's Sony, so
I get it. It's a brand new game. You don't necessarily want to just give it away.
They have done that in the past.
They have done that in the past. You are
many times.
Right. Anyway, I think Stray looks really cool. I'm going to buy Stray anyway, so I'm not too burned up about it. But it does feel kind of shitty on Sony's part that was not the agreed upon deal.
I'm hoping that, because I know that there's some features
they've altered the deal.
That
I pray they don't alter it any further.
Sorry, Bobby.
See, I love the Star Wars.
The DualSense is going to have some cool stuff. I hope that the PC version incorporates that. I'm really sorry to do this. This is completely, I'm going to go like off subject, but I was researching. I am a dog person. I was pulling up to look at Stray on Steam because it's been like top of the list. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you know this. A game that Please Fix the Road comes out tomorrow, and I'm so fucking excited about that.
What's it called? Please Fix the Road?
Have you not seen stuff for Please Fix the Road?
No.
Sure, I have. I just don't remember.
It's that gorgeous puzzle game about fixing. It looks incredible.
Yes.
It comes out tomorrow. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just saw that was happening. We had talked about that game.
Sure,
It looks really
nice.
fucking cool. It comes out tomorrow. Anyway.
Sounds good. Not on PlayStation though.
No.
Let's move on to another PlayStation game. Although this is showing up on multiple platforms, it just got announced first on PlayStation. In fact, we'll talk about it probably more during the Summer Games Fest section. But the Callisto Protocol is coming out December of 2022.
Oh, you mean Dead Space?
One of
that Dead Space joint?
Huh? I mean, no, I meant Fort Solace.
Oh, that Dead Space joint.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
No. You meant
Layers of Fear.
No.
No, Layers of Fear at least is like, we're not in space. At least they have the decency to not be another space horror zombie game.
A space chase. It's space hua.
Yeah, it's definitely the space zombie
routine. You mean routine?
Right. Yes, that's what I meant. I meant routine.
Poutine,
thank you.
Right? That really great.
Routine's about robots. That's slightly different.
And poutine is delicious.
Anyway, the thing about Callisto Protocol is that is it the devs or is it just the publishing company?
It's people who made Dead Space.
Yes.
Oh, I meant it's also from people who worked on the Battle Royale one, the Players Unknown Battlegrounds. Yeah, PUBG. Because that was that was the deal. It's no longer. I think they've said that.
Hey, I do not alter it further.
At one point, they said like this is in the PUBG universe. It just takes place
in space.
Thousands of years after it. And then I think they're like, and then I think they said like, nah, never mind. It's not. We don't want to have to do the effort to write an audio log or something that says somebody got a chicken dinner or whatever the fuck.
You gonna kill somebody for a chicken dinner?
Roll 7, Bobby, you know Roll 7. They're the makers of Ollie World, one of your favorite games.
Oh yeah.
Favorite recent games at the very least. They're making a new game called Roller Drome, which might have been my game of the state of play. This thing looks fucking rad. You're on roller skates, rollerblades, and you're doing tricks. It's aggressive inline all over again, except it has the art style of Sable, that kind of cel shady look. And also you just have a bunch of guns. And it's a little bit, and I take this with a grain of salt. It reminds me a little bit of my friend Pedro in that you're doing stunty tricks and shooting things. Let's hope it plays a little bit better than that. But it's Roll 7, so I'm sure it'll play just fine.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing more about that game. That thing looks
this looks awesome.
And that comes out pretty soon too. That is August 16th, both PS4 and PS5. That's one I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Then we got to the anime portion of the show with Eternites. That's coming early 2023. It is an action dating sim, is what they're billing it as.
I don't know why, Chase, but I ran across this today, and it's like, hey, in Evernight, if you hold R2, you actually hold their hand. And so...
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Doesn't that sound nice?
Very nice. Except also, like, your hand is like a ghost hand, because you've got this weird energy arm. I don't know.
You're Titus from Final Fantasy X?
I thought Titus was completely made up and fake.
That's true. Okay.
Not just...
You're not real, man.
Yeah. No, this is like Bionic Commando, except your wife is not inside your non-existent.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I think like this game had like dates, not like dating, but like dates like March and August and days of the week in its UI. So I wonder if they're kind of going for not exactly a Persona system, but an
I heard
idea
people call
of
Persona out for that.
Sure, like it's anime, it's monsters, it's relationship building. You you go to Persona because that's where you would naturally go. I thought it looked okay. I'd like to see more. I'd like to know more about that before I jump in. I think there are plenty of other anime-related games that I would probably play before Eternites, but it looked okay. Then we got Street Fighter 6 re-unveiling of that. I got to see the first ever gameplay of it. Brand new logo. I think the logo looks okay.
I do too.
mean, I know we all dunked on how shitty the old logo looked, but I like how
got the
it's
Sonic the Hedgehog treatment, man.
I like how it's half an S. I like how when it turns, it looks like an actual 6. I think it's a pretty cool logo. Somebody did a good job on that.
There are some thick people in that game.
Yeah. Some big dudes and ladies. I didn't catch that part of the Summer Games Fest, so I don't know when they showed that how much of the roster they showed. But I know pretty much immediately after the State of Play, the full roster leaked because Capcom just keeps Capcomming. So we've got that full roster out there. Some of your favorites: Dhalsim, Blanca, Cammy. Plenty of new characters are in there. It seems like a good roster. I think they've said this takes place. Is this the newest game in the chronology?
It's after 3.
Yeah, it takes place after 3. So
Chun-Li's been she opened like a martial arts school or something. Guile has a goatee or a beard.
Bison's dead, so I don't think Bison is in this game, or at least not like alive Bison. Maybe there's like some
and it has a more, I don't know if grounded is the right word, but it's not as comic booky or like.
I mean, in some ways, it's almost even more comic booky. Like it's like it seems like each character has their own, not art style exactly, but their own kind of flair, artistic flair to them. Like in SF4, they had that kind of Sumie inky painted stuff, and now Ryu has that, but Chun-Li's got like a paint splatter look to her, and there's another guy who's got a graffiti look to him. And when they pull off those, I don't know if it's focus moves exactly in the same way that Ford had, but when you do those kinds of moves, it makes those splashes of that particular art flourish, which is kind of cool.
Was it 5 that people dunked on pretty hard when it came out?
5 was pretty rough for lots of reasons. Yeah, and also it just didn't feel that much different than 4. It wasn't really trying a whole lot of new stuff, but and then the stuff that it did have wasn't all that great, and then it didn't have the story mode at launch, and there were plenty of problems with it. And then I think some of the DLC characters came and looked pretty fucking stupid. And 5 was not a beloved game.
Is the consensus that 6 is going to be better? Is that kind of how
I think there's optimism for 6. The guy who brought Street Fighter back with 4, and then kind of maybe drove it back into the ground with 5 is no longer there, or is no longer working on Street Fighter. So there's an optimism, I think, to some people of, hey, we're doing some new things. We've got some new people in here. Cool. There's some new blood, and I think from what they've shown, it looks okay. It certainly looks better than, wow, Ryu got big feet that we saw in that original teaser that we didn't get much more out of other than Bigfoot Ryu. Let's move on. Tunic coming to PlayStation. We figured this was coming. Tunic's, I mean, you guys think Tunic's a good game. I haven't played it, and it's probably not my thing, but I respect that it's a good game. That comes out September 27th on PlayStation. Then we saw a new game, or at least new to me. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. Season, A Letter to the Future, which is coming out fall of this year. I think that looked really cool. You play as a character who takes photos and records sounds, and it appears that you are taking them to, you are collecting them for a new generation to then share those, and you're kind of just collecting the stories of the present day to live on in the future, which is an interesting thing. Also, you're on a bicycle and you bike around quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Final Fantasy 16. They showed off a pretty lengthy new trailer.
It looks
It
cool.
seems kind of cool. It seems from what I saw, I don't know how much people have been talking about online or if Square's clarified with anything, but they certainly didn't show a party of any kind. It seems like maybe you're just a solo dude. At least they didn't show anything from that trailer, but it appears like you have different stances or different fighting styles based on the summons of Final Fantasy, the classic summons, Shiva, Ifrit, Odin, those kind of guys. And I guess you can equip those and switch them out on the fly to do different attacks, and then I guess you can also bring out the big form of the summon to do these giant fights.
Yeah, that looked pretty wild. I'm really excited for this now that I'm a fan. I'm looking forward to seeing, because I mean 15 was fine, but I felt really overwhelmed by it, and I think that what I'm picking up, and you called it out just now, but like maybe not the party elements, but this seems a little bit more focused, and the bits that I've seen, like it might be more linear for me to like, because I think that's one thing about 7 is that it felt like it was moving forward in a good way. Like the story was progressing in a way that like I could keep up with, and 15 felt very big and overwhelming in a lot of ways for like my first outing. But I am excited for this one, and I like that it's going back to more of like a medieval setting. I think that looks really cool. So
right. I mean, we've definitely gone in some more futuristic spaces with games like 7, with 13, with 15. Those have felt like in a different style of world completely, and this is going back to, hey, remember when Final Fantasy was about medieval people hitting each other with swords and shit, and that's
roots.
I'm not against that. Not having, I have to imagine there's some party in there, even if it's like a Final Fantasy 7 way of, or 7 remake way of like these guys are just kind of fighting, or even a 15 way of I'm playing as this character and then some other people are around me and they're doing their own thing.
You can still maybe tell them like, hey, fight defensively, or
maybe
switch to them.
I just can't imagine a Final Fantasy game not having a party, like having that rapport, having that group of people and creatures with you. I mean, that's why I like Final Fantasy, is thinking about all the cool characters that are part of your team as you go along and grow. So I hope there's some sort of party system in there, but it does look very pretty. They did announce it's coming out, or they're saying it's coming out summer of 2023. We'll see. But that's,
I mean, the way that they have talked is the game is basically done. They're just polishing it, and so I feel like pretty good chance they hit that date, but
possibly. And I know we've been having a lot of delays on a lot of games because of COVID stuff and the aftershocks of COVID stuff, and it's still kind of happening. So it hasn't really gone away. So there's still certainly some delays happening there. I guess the hope everyone has is that we've gotten a couple of years under our belt to figure this thing out, or to figure out how to work within this system, and maybe all the games are going to get back on track for 2023, and so we just gotta wait it out a little bit longer. Anyway, that was the Sony State of Play show. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it's, as we start to nestle up, and you're just alluding to it, like there's been, I mean, we're getting ready to talk about Summer Game Fest. Jeff Keighley's out there saying temper your expectations. We've had multiple people say this is the year that things were like shit really got hit hard that was supposed to be out right now by COVID. So
like the thing I liked about this show, it was relatively short and it was relatively impactful. I didn't have to like every game on it, or even care about things like the PSVR 2 stuff, but it felt focused in a way that neither of the other two shows really did to me.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that now. So I'm gonna walk us through, to the best of my ability, the Summer Game Fest, and just to let everybody listening know, this was arguably the longest not arguably, this was the
2
longest.
hours.
Yeah, we're not going to take that time to do it. We're going to go through kind of at a pace. We'll comment a little bit, but I think Chase even mentioned at the top of the show that there's going to be overlap in what we talk about. So certain things that were announced, we're just going to move past, but we're gonna hop into it. I'm gonna go out of order from how things were presented, if that's okay with you two, and just kind of work down and go that route. Is that all right with y'all?
I wouldn't be able to recall the order.
Yeah.
Fair.
Is this just the list that's in the note that
Well,
you're going off of?
No, that was the order. So like I was adding that
okay.
as it was, but I'm using something else that has a little bit
Okay.
more depth if y'all want it.
Sure.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They showed a pretty lengthy trailer for that game. I know, I think out of the group here, Chase, you've played a lot of the campaigns from some of these later ones. I know that you haven't played a lot of the multiplayer. Johnny, you've played more of the multiplayer than the campaigns, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I usually run through the campaign and then play a bunch of the multiplayer. And the first Modern Warfare reboot was my favorite of the, let's call it modern era of Call of Duty, post Ghosts. It was a fantastic game, and I would like to play this game.
I think their naming sucks. It's super confusing, but I don't understand completely.
This is a remake of Modern Warfare 2, and they're calling it Modern Warfare 2. So in that sense, they nailed it.
Yeah, but it's I guess that time was longer ago than what my brain's allowing me to really comprehend right now.
2009 or 7. 2007 is when.
With that, this is a remake of 2. Chase called out. The one thing that they did share, at least maybe not here, but I did read that there's not going to be a zombie mode for this one.
There's not.
There will be the full-on multiplayer mode. I don't know what that looks like from the BR standpoint, but campaign, look, the game looks pretty. Guns, all that stuff looked really, really well polished. I don't care about this, but I'm guessing that maybe you two are excited to check it out.
I'm more excited than I would be for a brand new Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. I haven't played a Call of Duty since Infinite Warfare, which is the one that had Jon Snow in it.
Got it.
And I'm fine with that. I just don't really care about those games much anymore. But I do have a fondness for Modern Warfare 1 and 2. But I didn't play that Modern Warfare 1 remake, so I'm probably not going to play this one either.
Yeah.
But I mean, Soap and Captain Price and Gaz, those are characters I, for some reason, know. And if you ask me to name anybody from Black Ops or literally any other Call of Duty game, I would go, I don't fucking know. So that's something.
Yeah, I think that this one, I mean, people did not like that last one that came out. The World War I, right? Or was it 2 that just came out?
I think it was 2.
But
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah, and it did not perform well.
Vanguard.
Vanguard. I think they actually even started going back to Black Ops and adding more to that versus Vanguard for some DLC stuff.
Yeah, it did not do.
This is already
and Warzone continues to be a thing. In fact, that was one of the main things they also mentioned with this, is that Warzone is kind of going under a 2.0 at this point. Yeah. I guess they're going to restructure everything around Modern Warfare 2 and the way all that stuff works for Warzone. So if you're a Warzone fan, and it seems like a lot of people are, that's probably the main way people are playing Call of Duty these days. That stuff is working towards something that sounds good, I suppose.
Yeah. So I don't know if they shared any dates on this. I think it's 2023, if I'm not mistaken. No, October 28th, 2022. My apologies. That's Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and I'm sure that will do well. You can pre-order that now and get access to a beta at some point in time coming up, but we'll see. I'm sure that one will do very well. Chase briefly mentioned it, but the Callisto Protocol, this thing looks like Dead Space. This trailer that they showed off was very moody, very effective, and they showed a really badass gravity gun in here that made me kind of go, ooh, that does look like fun. And then the guy got eaten by a machine. I'm like, that does not look like fun.
Yeah.
And it looks very
Half-Life
spooky
2
and
was a pretty
scary.
good game, wasn't it?
What's that?
Half-Life 2 was a pretty good game, wasn't
It was.
it? Yeah.
We got to see Nightwing in action in that new Gotham Knights game that's coming out on October 25th. I like Nightwing. I think he's a pretty cool character. I don't know about this game quite yet. There were some very strange versions that they showed with skins. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Nightwing with a ponytail.
Yeah, I was about to ask, does Nightwing have a ponytail? Because I thought
He does now.
looked real
He
fucking
does now.
stupid with the ponytail.
He looks stupid with the ponytail, but I am very curious about this. I like the gameplay quite a bit from those Arkham games, and this co-op sounds all right, but we'll see. Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. We got I think that
It's
was
DLC. You get it?
Oh,
It's an acronym.
So I didn't get that until
is this Johnny's Phoenix Down moment? Oh God.
yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was. I believe Vinny on the Next Lander podcast also had that revelation, and I was like, oh my god.
it's so I
You
think
know,
they-
It's
Castlevania
for
Dawn of
personal computer.
Skulls stood for DS because it was on the Nintendo DS. That's crazy.
See, I don't pay attention to stuff like that. Apparently,
this is finally coming out June 30th on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC. They showed off a pretty cool trailer. That game continues to just amaze me on how well it achieves what it's going for. Even though it might not be something I thoroughly enjoy playing, I definitely respect it and have had a pretty good time with it. But
nice to look at.
Yeah, definitely nice to look at. There's also they showed off Humankind, which that's been out on PC and
Game
PC Game
Pass.
Pass for a while.
Yeah.
But it is coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and
That's
the Xbox
Sega,
console.
That's the Sega made Civ, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. I think it had some
People
decent
like
reviews.
that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear people like
If
it.
you're into those 4X
I never
strategies,
played
like
it.
this is one of those.
But yeah, it looks all right.
A game called Soul Hackers 2 was shown. I curious what you two would think about this one.
Oh, you're not a big Soul Hacker fan? I thought you 100%ed Soul Hacker 1.
I'm a hacker man, not a soul hacker.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out on August 26th.
Is Soul Hackers? I think Soul Hacker is in the.
Oh
SMT.
yeah.
Isn't that in the SMT universe? Yeah. Yeah. This is the one that kind of has like a Fire Emblem girl in it. It looks like it. It looks like it, and they announced like, oh, this is the trailer that is going to show off the English dub cast.
Oh yeah,
and then I think only one woman talked the entire trailer. Like, well, you're not really showing off the different voices.
Right.
And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that voice that we heard is the same woman who does Sothis in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Huh.
I think.
Oh, by the way, there's a demo out for that. The
the Three Hopes.
Yep.
I have it downloaded. I haven't played it yet.
Outside Soul Hackers, we got a look at another scary game called Layers of Fears. It looks terrifying and something like I will not play, but
and it's from Bloober Team, so you know it's
Bloober.
bad.
You know it's not great. Flashback 2, 30 years after the original one, gets a modern take. It looked cool. I don't know how excited I am about it, but it had a nice look to it, I thought.
Did you guys ever play the first Flashback?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty funny to say that this is coming out winter of 2023. So 2024, you might be able to check out Flashback 2. Classics never die. They did show off for Warhammer 40K Darktide. This is the follow-up, I believe, or at least related to the Vermintide game I've played.
Yes.
That was on Game Pass.
Vermintide was Warhammer.
Yeah.
This is Warhammer 40K. Right?
Yeah.
So now you got your
Future.
chainsaw hands and shit.
Yeah,
This game looks fun.
It does look like a lot of fun. I think that it's got a good look to it. The class stuff looks pretty fun, and it's September 13th exclusively on Xbox and PC. I it is going to be available day one on Game Pass too. So I think I'll be playing this game at least to check it out. I don't know how much I'll stick through, but it could be a good
we're
romp.
going to be streaming this one.
Yeah, this looks like it could be a good time. A game that I'm really excited for, and I wish I would have seen a little bit more gameplay of today, but we got some new characters announced for Marvel's Midnight Suns. This is that XCOM developer squad card based.
Yeah.
They showed off Spider-Man and Venom today, and they also highlighted pre-order gets you some new skins for characters in the games. And we got a release date. This is coming out on October 7th on all the Xboxes, the PlayStations, the Switch, and the PCs. Come out everywhere, October 7th. I am very excited for that one, for sure. I think that could be a good time.
That was not everybody. Did you not catch the end of that trailer?
What's that?
The Hulk.
Oh, yes. Apologies. But
she comes out and she's like, hey, look at my cool squad of people you don't know, but also Venom with like his. I don't really like that new look of Venom. And then they're like, well, if you didn't like the way Venom looks, you're going to hate the way Hulk looks. And he just comes out. He's like, I'm the Hulk, but I look dumber.
I thought that he was one of the characters that was like one of the henchmen for Thanos. That's what I thought it was at first. Anyway, that looks cool. I did really like.
That'd have been better.
I liked how they gave Spider-Man 4 digital eyes inside of his eyes to make him look more like a spider. I thought that was kind of a dumb, neat thing. But I am looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a pretty cool take on that. So we'll see.
That's a very dumb-looking Hulk.
I want to be excited by this game, and everything they've shown to me makes me less excited for it. But knowing that Firaxis is making a new turn-based strategy game,
for sure.
As long as if you didn't tell me anything other than that, I'd go, well, I'm buying that day one, obviously. And they're trying so hard to make me not buy it, but I think I'm probably going to do it anyway.
I don't know, man. You've played some really dumb-looking robot games, and this one doesn't look that dumb in comparison.
I mean, it's not that it looks dumb. It's that we've had this conversation many times. I am exhausted by superhero stuff. And this is not.
I think video games are different than watching it, though.
I would say it's worse.
Nah.
I'm spending even more time with these characters. That's not what I want to do.
We got a game called Midnight Fight Express. The game arrives August 23rd. It's going to be on Game Pass also.
That's the one that's like being mostly made by one person, right?
Mostly made by one person, and actually that got called out on Twitter because there's like some pretty intense motion capture stuff happening with the fight sequences in this, and that the analogy was that the pharaoh mostly built the pyramids is what they used. I think that was a little egregious, but I think mostly made by one person is an interesting way of putting that from what they shared.
Well, yeah, because that's the way it was pitched. It's like, oh, this is mostly just like one dad who's been poking away at this. But then they showed the trailer, and they're like, the writer from Destiny 2, the Witch Queen. And it was like, well, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what was the other thing? There was another one that was like, oh, here's another big game. I want to know. I want to know what it had in there. It was Destiny 2, and then the other thing was also like a really big game. I'll find it.
It's coming out on everything but the Switch. So Chase, while you're looking at that, I'm going to keep moving this forward. Routine. Johnny teased that earlier. This game had, as he called it, a vibe. And whenever we were commenting to each other during it, this is the one that looked like when it was first being shown off, I thought that this was one of the games set in the Control universe by Remedy. Is this the first person one, right? With the robot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought that this was like reminiscent of The Oldest House. It had a really strange look to it. But it is looking kind of creepy. It's a survival horror game. You're going into a lunar base, dating back to the 80s. Your mission is going to be pretty weird, I think. But yeah, that'll be out on the Xbox consoles with integration into Game Pass. There is a PC release also planned. So I wonder if we'll see more of that on Sunday for the Microsoft Game Festival.
It was the stunt man from God of War, and I don't even know what the fuck that means.
What does that mean?
What? I mean, I guess if it's motion capture, like maybe this is the person who did all the motion capture stuff.
I guess that's just.
But what's
weird...
a stunt man for a video game?
I don't fucking know.
Anyway,
we did get Aliens: Dark Descent, which this looks to be kind of a twin stick shooter. If I did I see that correctly? Kind of isometric when they showed the actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, another Aliens game.
You like those, right, Johnny?
Aliens games?
Yeah. You guys had so much fun the last time you streamed.
Yeah. Oh man, that game was fantastic.
I don't know if this is a squad based one or if it is solo.
It looks like a squad,
but it's got the elements of that game for sure. They did show.
It's not made by the same people though, right?
No.
Okay.
We got another look at Outriders, which it's not Outriders anymore, but Outriders. We got
Outriders World
Destiny
Slayer.
Junior.
Destiny Junior. We got that.
That's insulting to Destiny.
It's that it could never live up to. That's why it's Destiny Junior.
Good Christ.
We did get to see a little bit more of Street Fighter 6. Saints Row got
the GoBot version of Destiny.
Oh God. It's the wish.com Destiny.
There you go.
They did show off more of Saints Row, and they released today Saints Row Boss Factory, where you can go in and design your character. I have that download on my computer, and I'm going to play around with that later on.
Just do not care about this new Saints Row game at all.
I just think it's very funny how high they're on about a character creator.
I mean,
it looks like you can make a lot of different people in it. It feels like a weird thing to.
In the era of like VTuber streamer culture, I think the stuff you're seeing right now with like Grand Theft Auto Online, like not that this is an MMO by any stretch, but I think that there's a big draw to that element of it, and this is an interesting take on like a demo or like getting your beak wet. So I'm sure if you think about like there was all that shit after Elden Ring came out, like TikTok was just full of people making the most absurd looking characters, and I think there was a game, was it like Monster Factory from a few years ago, where people
it was what Polygon was doing. They had a feature called Monster Factory where they go into games that had character creators and make the most fucked up people you could find.
Yeah, I think that, Boss Factory being the name here is pretty much, I think that's what they're going for.
You guys remember when Spore put out a character creator before the game came out? God, that was so much fun. That was a hell of a time. Not the game, just the character creator at the beginning. The game kind of disappointing, but that character creator was a heck of a lot of fun.
Planet of Lana, I don't remember this one.
So that was actually part of Day of the Devs, which was the show that immediately was after Summer Game Fest, and in my opinion, a little bit better. Not by much, but a little bit. But yeah, that game, we've seen that game before.
Yes.
I think that was at the Wholesome Direct, maybe?
Yes, that's right. It did get a release date, right?
Yes, I do not remember when.
They also showed off, which I gotta say, making a parody of a Dead Island trailer is pretty good when you're going to show off Goat Simulator 3. And I didn't know that there was a Goat Simulator 2.
There's not.
There's not?
That's fantastic.
They're
geniuses.
Okay.
I love it.
That's
great. When they said that, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's the joke. And then I verified that it was the joke, and it is in fact the joke.
That's very well done. I didn't play the first Goat Simulator.
I did.
But I'm 200% more into the idea of Goat Simulator 3, knowing that there's no Goat Simulator 2.
Well,
that's beautiful.
The good news for us is this is going to be playable in co-op with up to 4 players, locally or online, with 7 mini games available in multiplayer. The release is planned for the end of the year on the Xbox platform, PlayStation 5, PC, and that should be a good time.
If that thing has crossplay, you know what? That might be a fun thing to do.
That could be a real good done time.
That first game thrilled them.
We got a more in-depth look at a game that I remember the trailer for from E3 or Summer Games Fest last year called Nightingale, and I think this game looks really fucking cool. This is a survival craft game where you also have realm cards that you're creating that affect things like biome and weather. There's still no release date. I would be shocked if it hit next year based off of the team making it and the scope of it, but it looks really cool. Kind of a steampunk looking game. Really neat. A game that looks like Crypta the Necrodancer and Doom called Metal Hellsinger. It has a demo. Has a demo out right now. You can check that out if you'd like to today. That will be out September 15th. We got a quick look at the Capcom Arcade Second Stadium Retro Lovers. We've talked, I think, at length about One Piece in my anime segments, but no, it was One Punch. My apologies.
Yeah, no, we haven't done a One Piece yet.
But One Piece Odyssey is expected to release in 2022. We got...
They nailed that Dragon Quest art style.
They sure did.
Yeah, big time. Stormgate is coming from former members of Activision Blizzard, and they showed off a cinematic. It's a free-to-play RTS that will be playable in beta in 2023. Could be promising coming from those ex-devs.
Specifically from the StarCraft team.
Yeah.
Former StarCraft team members of Blizzard.
Could be neat. Escape Academy looks like another horror game with some puzzles. And...
Well, that's the one that's an escape room...
Yes.
Simulator thing, like that was an interesting one. Hearing the team talk about that.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we want to talk about. We did get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming out this year, up to 6 players, and on Game Pass. Yeah, that's June 16th, I believe.
Next week.
Yep.
And they announced Casey Jones.
They did announce Casey Jones
as a 7th playable character.
Super People, that crazy looking battle royale, they got a final beta for that. There was a really cool look at Zenless Zone Zero, which is the next game from those fine folks that have brought us Genshin Impact.
I'm not sure that's exactly true. It's weird because MiHoYo is the developer of Genshin.
Yep.
And they're working on a new game, but it's not that. They're working on Star Rail. That's the one that's the Genshin dev that's doing like Genshin in space. But then this is from Hoyoverse, which is also, I think, somehow related to Genshin, but it's not the actual developer.
I mean, Polygon has Zenless Zone Zero is a wild urban action game from the developers of Genshin Impact.
Yeah, the developer's listed as MiHoYo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they're just giants.
Well, hang on a second. Zenless Zone Zero is the latest project from Genshin Impact developer MiHoYo's subsidiary Hoyoverse. Okay. So maybe it's just it's the team, the people that are familiar with both of those properties probably working on it.
Sure.
So MiHoYo currently employs 4,000 people. So
yeah, absolutely they do. Of course they do. Because they're still working on like a bunch of mobile stuff that has continued to go on, like Honkai Impact 3rd, I think. That game is still getting updates. They make a ton of these kinds of gacha games. I don't know what Zenless Zone Zero is exactly. I don't know if that's going to be
slick.
It does. It looks really cool. I don't know if that's a gacha game though. From what I saw, I didn't see anything that looks gacha-y.
Yeah, same.
So if it's this subsidiary, maybe it's even, hey, these guys are going to make a single player game that maybe gets you excited about playing
Totally.
more of our gotcha shit,
Other
because
stuff.
there are lots of kinds of games like that. Like what was the League of Legends game that you guys played that you liked?
Ruined
Yeah.
King.
Yeah. Like
I did
that is
something like
not
that.
like you're not buying a bunch of free to play skins and bullshit in that, but if you like those characters, maybe you go back and play a little bit more League of Legends and then you do buy those skins. I hope that's what Zenless Zone Zero is, because I think I'd like to play it, but I'm not going to play it if it's got a bunch of microtransaction bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. We got a look at a bunch of Switch things. They did a few montages, I think, for the Switch and showed off some stuff there. Nothing that hadn't been announced yet, but
Yeah, nothing new at all.
we got some stuff there. There was a game called High Water that has a really cool
Yes.
look to it, and I'm really excited to see more of that. I can't remember, Chase, was that this year or is that next year?
It says 2022, and they're calling it an adventure strategy game, and I
Okay.
don't exactly know what that means, but it makes me more excited than it would normally.
Got it.
And I think that game already looked pretty cool.
Worth mentioning because of the situation, but Replaced was projected to be shown here, and the developers wanted to come, but that is being made in Ukraine, and because of the situation there, that did not happen, and they did a nice well wish to them.
Yeah. Also, no mention of Advance Wars for similar reasons, and no mention of the highly rumored GoldenEye remake, because that also deals with some Russian stuff that seems like everybody's just pressing pause on that for a while.
I think that one will be, if they do show it off, will be at Microsoft's event.
Like, hey,
sure,
it's out.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I would also completely understand if they did not.
100%. They showed off Neon White. I've played this game, and I think it looks a lot better than how it plays. And
I believe that.
It feels pretty rough, in my opinion, but it's a cool concept. It's got a lot of attitude, but it felt pretty swimmy when I played it, and it did not control with a tightness that I think it needed to. But the demo's out there if you want to check that out for sure.
But it does have Spike Spiegel as your main character, and as we all know, how much we all love Cowboy Bebop here. I mean, Bobby's watched two episodes, so like he's a fan, obviously. That is pretty compelling.
We got to look at a game called Honkai Star Rail. I don't know much about it.
That is MiHoYo. That is the Genshin dev.
That's the Genshin dev one. Okay.
That is the main Genshin dev. This one is Space Genshin. It seems like this is going to be the gacha game.
Got it. We did get, let me see here. There's one other one I was going to bring up. We got a little quick teaser for Mario Strikers, which is out by the time you're listening to this. One thing I'll call out, I think the Samsung Gaming Hub is a cool idea. So this was announced earlier in the day by Microsoft saying that, hey, for any 2022 model Samsung television, we're bringing our Xbox Game Pass cloud service directly to it as an app. But then Samsung has created a gaming hub on their televisions that, like, if you do have Stadia, Luna, if you've got NVIDIA, GeForce Now, if you've got any of these streaming services, it's a one-stop shop where all those are listed. You just connect your controller to your television and you are ready to go and check that stuff out. The other thing in that same
article... Now we know why Bobby's excited about it.
Why is that?
Stadia. Because Stadia.
Oh, yeah. They did say also, so Microsoft did a little bit of more of like a tech overview of where Game Pass is going to be at, and I'm sure we'll see more about it on Sunday, but they talked about your existing Xbox library being brought into Game Pass. So currently, if you are a subscriber to Game Pass, and like where I used to have an Xbox and I have multiple years worth of purchase history there, some of those games might be available to me now to stream in the cloud, even though they're not on Game Pass, and they're going to bring some of that stuff over to it, which is pretty interesting. You can read more about that, some updates to Xbox Design Lab, and a few other things there that they brought up with that. So to close the show off, however, brand new game, never before seen. We got to see a little game called The Last of Us Part 1. And we did get a teaser for The Last of Us multiplayer, which is now a standalone game.
I see some concept art.
Yes. and we got to see a photograph from the upcoming Last of Us TV show. And The Last of Us Part 1 is being remastered for remade, I'm sorry, for the PlayStation
it's already been
5.
remastered.
Yes.
Yeah. They've already done that one.
It's coming out for the PlayStation 5 and PC later on this year, but September 22nd. It's going to have updated visuals, modernized controls, all that fun shit they say. But it's
I think it's going to have like the combat from 2.
They did definitely say updated AI, smarter stuff. Okay. But then they showed side-by-side screenshots, and I'm like, I don't think it looks all that different. In fact, I might even venture to say, like, I think some of the older images look better.
I mean, this is Johnny and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't necessarily need this, but I think that if they are pushing out this TV show that's going to focus on that first year or that first part, like, I could see why they'd want to have the best version of that out there.
Putting the time in to make a PC port.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a whole remade version that isn't working with the one that was made on PS3 and the cell port.
Right.
Maybe it was easier for them to just remake the game than to figure out a way to port the PS3 version to PC.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's also $70.
They're charging $70.
Yeah, it's $70.
You can buy the remake.
You can get the remaster for $16 right now.
Yeah.
And they're also selling deluxe version of this for $100, I believe.
And it's sold out like that.
Fuck that.
I think they shared that there's been over 30 million copies now, right?
Something like that.
Like, I know I'm shitty about Last of Us Part 2.
That you never played, but go on.
That I've never played and I never will play. Have zero interest in it. I like Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us. I like The Last of Us. I think that was a good game. And I enjoyed my time with it. And they then remastered it. And it looks great and it plays great. It's great. It works on your PS5. They did it. What are they doing?
Money.
They're getting people brought up.
It's a dumb way to make money. I mean, it'll make money. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. You could do anything else. Make another Uncharted game for no real reason. That would be a better use of your time.
You're gonna tell me that you've never bought the same game more than once?
I've not like that.
Okay.
I've absolutely bought the same game more than once, but I haven't paid $70 for a game I already own when I can just buy a copy that's $16 on the same goddamn platform.
Is it worse to spend $70 on a gacha game or $70 on a remake of a game?
Both reprehensible.
I think they're both pretty shitty.
Fair. But that was how they wrapped up the Summer Games Festival this year. Just to keep everybody on the up and up, we're going to talk about Devolver next, but this weekend you've got Geeked Week from Netflix. There's the Epic Game Store Summer Showcase that is on June 10th. You also have the Tribeca Game Spotlight. June 12th brings you the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, as well as the PC Gaming Show. On June 13th, you get the Capcom Showcase. And on June 21st, you get the Multiverses Pro Player Showcase. So tonight, we're going to move on to Devolver. Which
before we do, I want to quickly shout out a couple things from the Day of the Devs, which showed up after the Summer Games Fest. We already mentioned Planet of Lana, which I thought looked really good. Still looks really good. They showed off another game called Time Flies that kind of seems like a cross between Minute and Untitled Goose Game. You play as a housefly, and you only have the amount of time. So the developer is from Sweden or Switzerland, I believe, and the way they've programmed the amount of time that you have as a fly is based on your country's average age, like average life expectancy. So in the US, it's 77.4 years. So they give you 77.4 seconds as a fly to do these things. But it's like Untitled Goose Game in that it has like a bucket list of things that you want to do before you die, and it's things like go on tour, and to do that, you're playing as this little fly, and you land on a record player, and you scratch the record and become kind of like a little bit of a DJ. It just looks really neat and cute and small and fun. I want to play that. It's coming to Switch, PlayStation, and PC in 2023. And then there's another game called Naiad, Naiad. That's a top-down game where you play as a water nymph, and you are swimming through a river. I think it's got a really good look to it, and it looks to be kind of about pollution and kind of trying to befriend your aquatic animal friends as you go through this river. Seemed kind of cool. That's coming out this year to PC and consoles. And then there's a game called Shim, Schim, that I think we've seen before. Maybe this was also part of the Wholesome Direct, but you play as like a shadow, and you have to jump. It's a puzzle platformer where you have to jump from shadow to shadow in the real world. So like you wait for somebody to pass by, and then you jump into their shadow, and then you, as they walk, they carry you in their shadow before you jump into a different shadow. And so you're always trying to get back. I believe you're trying to get back to a specific person, and so you're just jumping from shadow to shadow to get into that. But you're causing things, like you're causing like a big dumpster to fall down that creates a bigger shadow that you can then jump into. And I think that's got a really striking look to it, and I want to play that as well. I don't remember seeing dates for that one though, but couple cool little games from that I thought looked really nice in that Day of the Devs section.
Nice. Sounds great. Johnny,
Yeah.
Devolver, the most normal presentation you'll ever watch.
That was
I did not
strange.
get to watch this today.
It was very tongue-in-cheek. They're
continuing what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. It just, this time, it felt like they showed even fewer games than they ever have.
They did.
Like, there were literally four games, maybe five.
I will say, though, I watched a couple trailers of those games, and I'm excited to talk about them.
Two of those games are better than anything else I saw today, so I'm already into it.
Cult of the Lamb.
I'm excited for that.
Announced earlier this year. You play as a possessed lamb who must start a cult in order to pay back the strange spirit who saved his life.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That seems like a cross between Stardew Valley and Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of into, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very cute and, oh God, what was
Tormented.
It? A little bit fucked up.
Yeah.
What was that? It was a show. It was like very Happy Tree Club. There was a show on MTV.
Happy Tree Friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
That same kind of energy.
Sure.
Anger Foot, which
looked pretty good.
Yeah. It's
Kicking
a
ass,
FPS
right?
where you're shooting guns and you're just got a big old foot that you're using to kick down doors, and
it's like first person Hotline Miami, except also you're on LSD.
Yeah.
There's like tentacle monsters and weird shit that's happening. It also reminds me a little bit of James Parker's games, the Rico games.
Yeah,
where you're doing a lot of slow motion and a lot of breaching into rooms and shooting the shit out of people.
Yeah, and it's set in Shit City.
Yeah,
so
it's perfect.
Hell yeah.
That's great. They also showed off Card Shark, which is already out.
It is out.
And I believe there's the quick look of that you guys did, right?
Yeah, of the demo.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And then, finally.
No, not finally. They showed off 2 games.
Yeah.
You mean to tell you about the other one?
No, I'm about to say they showed off the 2 good games.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not good. That's not fair. They showed off the 2 games that I was most interested in. The Plucky Squire. Which started out as it looks like, oh, this is going to be a cute little 2D side-scrolling thing, and then
which it was.
And then the plucky squire pops off the page of this sketchbook and starts running around in 3D and is then able to jump into other objects. And it reminded me of there were those parts in Super Mario Odyssey where you could jump into the wall and it was like an 8-bit version of the level. Same kind of concept where you're going from 3D to 2D, and it looks fucking rad.
It looks so good. Like,
comes out next year.
Absolutely insane, like how good that game looks. It is next year, right? For sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Real excited for that one. And then the last thing they showed off was Skate Story.
This wasn't the first time this game's been shown off, though, right?
It's the first time I've ever seen it.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. So you play as a demon made of glass and pain, according to the trailer. And it's just got a freaking style to it.
It's got a look, man.
That
it's got like some res in there.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
It's so fucking cool.
It's
I was just
cool
this. I was in the middle of cooking dinner. I had this playing on my phone as I was chopping up sweet potatoes, and I just put all that down and watched this unfold on my phone screen.
It reminded me of Sayonara Wild Hearts a little bit too.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. My hope though is, and I've already mentioned this once on the show, I hope it's not another My Friend Pedro, because that game again just looks so cool in trailers, and now it's got me gun shy about anything that is super cool in a trailer, but also I don't know how that game will control, and I could totally see it controlling like absolute dog shit. I hope that's not the case.
Is that this year?
Yeah, with a skating game, the controls need to be tight. Yeah, it is 2023. So, it's
like I could see that camera angle being real hard to pull off tricks and see where you're going at the same time.
Yeah.
But I just hope it's really fucking good because it looks incredible.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Very striking.
I'm excited to see more of that for sure. So short and sweet for Devolver's marketing countdown to marketing, right?
Yep.
It wasn't all that short.
It was like half an hour, and they showed off those 5 games.
So let's briefly.
It's fun. I guess I appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
More than some other stuff. It went from wow, this was really undercutting all these big E3 press conferences that are so bloated and stupid, and it's become more and more navel gazy as things go on, and I think you're almost reaching critical mass at this point of guys, maybe you should find another thing to do.
Maybe just show the games.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we talked through the Sony State of Play tonight. We talked through the Summer Game Fest. We covered the Devolver showcase. As we head over into our credits here to wrap up tonight, I mentioned that there's a few more show pieces coming up that I don't know. We haven't talked too much about it, but depending on what is covered in the Bethesda thing, the PC gaming show, and maybe the Tribeca game spotlight and Epic Games show, there might be something that we spend a larger portion of our next episode a week from now, or next Wednesday, covering. We traditionally record on Wednesday nights, but we made the decision to push our show this week to Thursday so we could talk about this stuff this week and make room for next week. But if you are new to what we do here, please hang out, make yourself cozy. There's a few ways to follow the fun. Monday night, we covered Hard Space Shipbreaker on our Casual Monday stream over on Twitch. We're right here on Twitch. We did put up a quick look over on YouTube on Tuesday morning for a game called 10 Minutes Till Dawn. This past week for $3, the full version, 20 Minutes Till Dawn dropped. So check out our quick look. There's also a demo for 10 minutes. You can check that out and play it. Really cool game in the vein of Vampire Survivors. This week we covered all the fun stuff that's been happening with video game news. We also put a quick look up this morning for a game called Apico, which is a really cool slice of life B-sim or bee raising simulator, kind of like a Stardew Valley, Minecraft. It's got a lot of fun stuff going on there. And then Friday night, Johnny and I and friend of the show Jason are going to get together and play some Monster Hunter Rise as we are working to get ready for Sunbreak that drops in 20 days. So a lot of fun stuff that we're getting ready for there. If you would be so kind, check out some of that stuff over on YouTube, like, subscribe where you can, and make sure to tune back in here for all the fun stuff we've got going on. Again, next week we'll be covering some new stuff with the games that they're going to be talking about from Microsoft. Other fun stuff happening as well. Chase, you are doing stuff outside of the show. What do you got going on?
Sure, a couple things. One, there's a new episode as of this week for my new series on Chasey K Plays, my YouTube channel. I'm playing through SteamWorld Heist, and that series is called Cowbots and Aluminum. And it's been pretty good. So episode 2 is out. That game's still fun as hell.
It's a good game.
Can't wait to play even more of it. Maybe I can get one of you two to come on and watch me play a little bit, and we can talk. That would be fun. And then also, I have Gamers on the Go. That is my handheld video games podcast that both Johnny and Bobby have been on multiple times, as well as some other great friends. Most recently, Bobby and good friend of the show, Jiggy-san Matt Jaguar. We did an episode on the Playdate and how we felt about it a couple weeks after it launched. And we're getting to a point where we probably need to record another check-in, because there's been plenty of new games coming out for that, and more side-loaded stuff that we want to check out as well. And,
it's ready, man. I'm ready for more.
So soon. So we'll do that soon. Maybe in the next week or so, we'll find some time to record another episode and get that out there. GamersOnTheGo.com.
Awesome. And if you are into what we're doing here with our show, we post these episodes every Friday morning wherever you listen to podcasts. So make yourself available to put us where you want to have your podcasting, and hang out with us throughout the week at the Casual Hour, wherever you do your social networking. Johnny, anything that you want to update on your escapades in fatherhood?
This podcast has been busting, boys.
Stop it. That's enough out of you. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
I made Jude mac and cheese tonight, Chase, and he took a bite and he said, "Dad, this mac and cheese is bussin'." So
that's pretty cool. Was it BMW cheese drip?
It was. He says drip a lot too.
He does say drip a lot.
He says He actually said BMW drip.
Do you ever get upset that your son quotes YouTube more than you?
That's right. What?
Do you ever get upset that your son mimics YouTube more than you?
It's what he's 9, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
These are all just things that I can throw in his face when he's older.
Yeah,
and it's fine.
Okay.
You get to dab at his wedding.
Right?
Remember that? You remember dabbing, son?
Oh boy. All right. Well, hey, you two, thanks for covering those games tonight. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat with you all very soon. Take care.